There's a real question about whether there's a massive shift happening now in terms of world alliances long term.
Well, it's definitely, I think, a new world order.
Battle lines for a new world order based on power.
The new world order.
Because you really need to bring China into the creation of a new world order.
I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world order in trade. There's a new world order in globalization and the way that we invest in our economy versus, foreign supply chains. There's a new world order and that the president is willing to shake up some old alliance structures. I mean, NATO, I think, is much different because of the president's leadership than it was 10 years ago. It was sort of coasting. It was effectively a protectorate of the United States of America. Obviously, you saw what happened in Venezuela. So, yeah, the president is putting a stamp on world history.
This clip went super viral, and I had people tagging me to it saying, what do you say to this? You like J.D. Vance. Here he is saying he's for the New World Order. You have to go off what the policies are to decide if they're New World Order. And the Rockefellers and the globalists for 80 years have been calling this corporate British Empire, U.S. Empire, neoliberal system the New World Order. That means the carbon taxes. That means the UN being in charge, the World Economic Forum calling the shots, BlackRock being in total control, the whole Bill Gates, Rothschild, Rockefeller, international neoliberal order that they had established, that they admit is totally in trouble. Everybody's turning against them, regardless of Trump.
Sees the need for a great reset. So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other publications whose directors have attended our meetings and restricted their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity. But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government.
Let's start with a term that we're hearing quite a bit about in the last couple of years, the New World Order. We like to say in this country that we have the ability as Americans to elect. But the problem...
There's a real question about whether there's a massive shift happening now in terms of world alliances long term.
Well, it's definitely, I think, a new world order.
Battle lines for a new world order based on power.
The new world order.
Because you really need to bring China into the creation of a new world order.
I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world order in trade. There's a new world order in globalization and the way that we invest in our economy versus, foreign supply chains. There's a new world order and that the president is willing to shake up some old alliance structures. I mean, NATO, I think, is much different because of the president's leadership than it was 10 years ago. It was sort of coasting. It was effectively a protectorate of the United States of America. Obviously, you saw what happened in Venezuela. So, yeah, the president is putting a stamp on world history.
This clip went super viral, and I had people tagging me to it saying, what do you say to this? You like J.D. Vance. Here he is saying he's for the New World Order. You have to go off what the policies are to decide if they're New World Order. And the Rockefellers and the globalists for 80 years have been calling this corporate British Empire, U.S. Empire, neoliberal system the New World Order. That means the carbon taxes. That means the UN being in charge, the World Economic Forum calling the shots, BlackRock being in total control, the whole Bill Gates, Rothschild, Rockefeller, international neoliberal order that they had established, that they admit is totally in trouble. Everybody's turning against them, regardless of Trump.
Sees the need for a great reset. So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other publications whose directors have attended our meetings and restricted their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity. But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government.
Let's start with a term that we're hearing quite a bit about in the last couple of years, the New World Order. We like to say in this country that we have the ability as Americans to elect. But the problem is we do not have the ability to select. We can only elect, which means that we can only vote for those candidates which are put before us by our masters, our hidden masters behind the scenes.
A new world order can emerge, a new era. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
That system is in free fall collapse. So when you hear the old international order is dead from them, their new world order is dead, you see Putin saying, we now have to work with other nations to build a new world order. They're about the new international order.
Before our eyes, a completely novel world order is taking shape, and it's unlike everything that we know from the past. For example, Westphalian system or Yalta system. New powers are emerging. The nations understand more clearly their interests, their self-worth, uniqueness, and identity.
But the public, when the globalists would talk about their plan, they were saying, we control the world. We're establishing a planetary government, our new world order. So you call a new order, whoever it's run by, you can say America fighting off the British, creating the American system was a new world order. The British wrote, if this continues, our empire will fall. And it did. It took 100 and some years. That's the point, is a new boss, a new system. And there's a lot of the old, same globalist players in there trying to salvage this and repackage the old New World Order as the new New World Order. And there's a big battle inside the Trump administration on how we form this new system, because a new system is being formed. And I don't just expose the globalist system and other systems, the communist systems. I promote good ones and try to get the public to promote good systems. Team America, Team Humanity, a system pro-God, pro-family, pro-natalist, pro-expansion. That's what I always explain. We can't just oppose the globalist order. We have to promote other systems and popularize those so that we can fill the vacuum with our new world order that isn't a centralized global government, but is nation states working together towards common aims and promoting freedom and justice and soft power.
All right, we're here, man. Woo! You gotta love it. I've got 50,000 things going on at once, and I got this little sinus cold, and I'm like, okay, where am I at? What am I doing? And I turn the video on, and it's playing, but our screen's still on here. So I'm like, and then I look over, and it's the wrong screen, so I had to start the video over. So I apologize. I'm fucking dipshit. How's it go? I'm kind of retarded. Okay, it's just the way it goes. How you doing, John?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, me too. I'm so glad to be here. Looks like my son was in here. There's tape all over. I didn't even notice. There's tape all over the place. It's just lived in, you know. He came in here earlier. I came in here for something, and I sat down. I think I was working with this AI tool. He comes in, and he's got one dog, the two girls, one on each side of him. He's got tape wrapped around them, and I'm just like, I've learned to just let him go and just clean up the mess afterwards, because when you try to tell him to do something, he don't listen. He's like,
Gotta get it through, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Done with his plans.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for being here. It is March 14th, 2026, and we're glad you're all here. Hell of a show last night. If you haven't had a chance to watch that show, I am committing myself for last night's broadcast. We covered a lot. We got into some stuff pretty good. If you get a chance, go check it out.
Absolutely.
And I always want to send you back to Mike Rose's last Friday. It was a very good show. And you know, he's a 32-year military vet.
Experience,
and
dude.
Although and he could be right, because I mean, he was on the ground for 32 years, blowing up, all that stuff. So he's got a little more experience than I do about it, but I just don't see how what he's talking about is legit. Like, all the Iranians are hiding in tunnels, and they're, you know, because all I see is shit blowing up everywhere. You know, from the views that we see,
everything now.
He's
on
like
Twitter and everything else. You know, I mean, it happens and it's instantaneous to the rest of the world now.
Yeah.
This is completely, and I know that they said that about past wars, but this one is so up to
That's why they
date and
call it
so crazy, dude.
a fifth dimensional. I mean, it's so many different angles. Most of it's on the messaging. I mean, the messaging is most of it. Being here, looks like we got some people on. We've added a couple channels, and we're doing a trial run on these other channels just to see what happens. Back years and years and years ago, I used to play poker, and I was on Twitch, and we doing this online poker thing a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, and they kept giving me strikes for just talking on the mic. I was just talking shit to people. You mean, and I guess that was, I was a little hothead back then. Anyway, so we're just doing a trial run, see what happens.
Yeah.
See how it goes with Twitch. We're gonna add a couple more here shortly. We're gonna add we have a locals channel. I don't talk about it enough. I probably should. We're gonna start doing. You have my word on this one. We're gonna start doing in the locals channel, the private. We're gonna start doing stuff that we can't do on YouTube and stuff like that, and on Twitch. Obviously, we cannot do stuff on Twitch. But we're gonna do deeper dives into different things. Like back few 21 or 22, we did a DARPA thing. We did a really deep dive into DARPA and the workings of it and how it really breaks down and stuff. And we kind of got away from that for a while because I'm out here. I'm doing this by myself, and I really am trying to get some help. And we got the media thing. I think we got it dialed down. We got the website's almost done. It'll be done tomorrow. We're gonna spend some time on it and get the all the stuff, the sponsors and stuff on there, and the T-shirts and all. We're gonna start working on all that stuff, so that way we can get revenue coming in and stuff like that. But that's a little side note. What do we got? Did anybody see or hear the new Tom McDonald music video? The new single that he put out is like dead on, exactly what we're going through. We're gonna roll that here in a little bit. We'll probably get tagged for it, but maybe not because he's not like a published artist. So maybe it'll fly because he's internet only. I mean, we'll see. We're gonna trial run it on all these subpar. We're calling them subpar. Internet's, media. So we'll see how it goes. And so what do we got? We got some Epstein files. We have some Charlie Kirk stuff. We have Candace came out with a really, really interesting take on a new camera view, which is very interesting. And we're gonna run that. It's about 6 minutes. And then we have Iran. Obviously, we got. Did I mention Epstein? We're going to do some Epstein stuff. And then we got some miscellaneous stuff they're going to do also. Some stuff on the election that we don't talk enough about. That is, people are getting indicted and things are starting to turn around. And the way I see the voting, that if we could get the voting fixed, even if we get 50% fixed, just like the majority of it, to where it's not illegals and mail-in ballots and all the dead people voting and all that stuff. If we get that curved, we won't have to be 15% higher to win an election. So there's that. Got that. And I have quite a few things with Tucker. Tucker's been on a roll lately. He's been, and you know what the truth is if you, I take people, I don't care where you're at, You know, I don't care where you're at. And you'll find that out tonight with some of the people that we've pulled in tonight. But I don't give a shit, you know, what your ideology is, as long as what you're talking about is common sense, we'll go with it. You mean?
Yeah.
And Tucker is like wholesome dude, man. He's not like some full of shit. You know, he's not a fear monger. He's very humble when he does shit when he figures out that he was wrong. He's the first one to tell you.
Admit it.
Yeah. So anyway, we got some of that stuff and some miscellaneous. Got a couple memes. We're gonna have a little fun, man. How you doing, John?
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
Just enjoying this weather change here in Cali.
Dude,
you know?
it's 75 degrees.
Yeah,
It's motorcycle
gonna be
ride.
82 tomorrow. It's gonna be amazing.
Awesome.
I love it.
I'll be in the yard all day.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. So shall we get started? Let's get started with something that first of all, you want to talk about that clip? Some of John Bound's material doesn't get enough. It doesn't get what it deserves, and that if you think about the morphing of the New World Order, basically the old New World Order versus what's coming in now, even Donald Trump or President Trump are talking about their New World Order, and I don't know if that's a catchphrase or if that's a bad
They're just
thing.
taking something that was old and putting a new face on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was, you know, I've been always hearing about the New World Order. I remember when George Bush said it. I remember.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that was, oh my God, man. And now they're making it better. I hope. I don't know. I said everything is so topsy turvy. What I thought I knew, it's turning out not to be, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I say that just because of the fucking gas prices, bro. Yeah. All because of this fucking war. You know what I mean?
Well, that's lightweight.
I know
it could be worse.
You know, it could be a lot worse. But my wallet doesn't like that.
You want to talk about though? Because you know we got some things that people aren't talking about.
Yeah.
Because of the war and because of the Epstein files, and before that, it was because of Charlie Kirk, or because of this, or because they don't. It doesn't get the real
lost in the cracks.
Yes, it gets lost in translation.
Yeah.
And I've always been really concerned about Palantir, right? And I've always been concerned about the AI model. That's not, you know, I don't want it to be regulated, but I've always been concerned about the takeover of society with robots and different things like that. So we should probably get into some of that stuff in the near future because we can't.
It's coming, dude.
We can't get stuck on, and this is what I talk about all the time. We can't get stuck on one thing. We got like last night. I was like, we have to keep Charlie Kirk alive. We have to keep digging in, finding out what's going on, the Epstein files, figuring out what's going on. And all these other things that kind of get pushed to the side so that we could, you know, stay focused on how bad Trump's war is, or, you know, whatever it is. I mean, the internet is a funny thing, although it doesn't go away. Even when you delete it, it's still there just for you dipshits that want to post stuff and change your mind.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, you know, let's do this.
Internet is forever.
Now, this is, how do you say that? This is for entertainment purposes only. How do I get away with playing this music video without getting without YouTube giving me a strike or some bullshit?
Pause it every couple of, you know what I mean? Just that, or interrupt, do your little talking. You know what I mean?
Is that how we do it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a very, very.
It's crazy,
this
dude.
Video
I hadn't heard it, and then I did. I was like, oh, dude. That's...
So we're gonna. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna run it, pause it, and we're just gonna get through this video because I think
long.
Tom McDonald is badass. I mean, you know, when all the music industry, and I'm, you know, I used to be so into music and all that stuff. When the music industry was all a bunch of fucking dirtbag pedophiles and you know, communism and people that would stab you in the back and they want to give you write you a contract for some label and take 75% of your money. That's how it is. I mean, they own you. And he was like, no, you don't own me. I'll do it my own. And he's done it on his own.
Yeah.
And he literally, because on Facebook or whatever, every now and then I'm like, I see him. He's like, okay, I'm doing 2,500 CDs right now. You know what I mean? I'm selling these and I'm going to sign them. You know what I mean? And he just does it right at it. I mean, he just does it himself. You know what I mean? Anyway, we'll talk about Tom McDonald some other time. But let's just play this. Let's just do it.
They a bunch of Satanists, criminals, murderers, and pedos. We all pray to God while they worshiping the devil. Yeah, it's Hollywood, the royal family, politicians left and right. They seem anti-American, they anti-Christ. They anti-Christ. They anti-Christ. Seem anti-American, they anti-Christ. It ain't left and right no more, cause now it's good and evil. They used to call it a conspiracy, but now it's real. We see the files and the facts, don't care how you feel. They having pizza parties, and that means they eating people. This might wake them up. QAnon didn't make it up. Missing kids got flown to Jeffrey's Island by who paid it up. The rich and famous, the young, eat human flesh, it ain't for fun. It's ancient ritual, sucking adrenochrome from baby's blood. They call us crazy, but they should be behind bars. They call us liars cause they don't want to get charged. They call us conspiracy theorists, but in their hearts they know all the names they call us ain't as bad as what they are. They are Satanists, criminals, murderers, and pedos. We all pray to God while they worshiping the devil. Yeah, it's Hollywood, the royal family, politicians left and right. They seem anti-American, they anti-Christ. They anti-Christ. They anti-Christ. They seem anti-American, they anti-Christ. It ain't a culture war no more, the real fight is started. We've been up against each other, but now we the targets. It's the rappers, it's the actors, the elites in charge. It's kings and queens, they all bowing to the prince of darkness. Things ain't getting better, they run the world with rich investors. The cult came from Egyptian deserts, now they cannibals in Gucci sweaters. Using AI to fuel agendas, control the news, the truth, the weather. Now we're ruled by a group of dudes who are all satanic child molesters. They call us crazy, but they should be behind bars. They call us liars cause they don't want to get charged. They call us conspiracy theorists, but in their hearts they know all the names they call us ain't as bad as what they are. They are Satanists, criminals, murderers, and pedos. We all pray to God while they worshiping the devil. Yeah, it's Hollywood, the royal family, politicians left and right. They seem anti-American, they anti-Christ.
I mean, there's a possibility that I get flagged for all those things on YouTube because YouTube, they still suck. But anyway, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, when you think about it, all those things that he's saying in that is exactly what's going on. Any way you swing it, I mean,
it's crazy, dude.
I stopped it just a little bit early, but
people can find it.
Yeah, it's all over the internet.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, it's what we talk about. It's what we're going through. And it's probably, my
and it's been like that for ever, dude. That's the thing. Oh, it's been going on for fucking ever.
And this has been one of those things that unless you are paying attention, you'll never know anything about it. And now it's out on the surface because of all the stuff that's going on with Epstein files and Diddy and and all these billionaires and the child trafficking and really that's one of the things, and we're going to get to this a little bit later, the propaganda. One of the things that happened in 2021, really, COVID era, whatever we want to call it, was the globalists thought that by doing this, the injections and the lockdowns and the and the mask wearing and the making you do this and making you do that and all this stuff. They thought that they were going to be able to kick up their new world order and kick it into high gear and take over, and it backfired on them. It just straight backfired on them. And so what it did is it woke up a lot
of
normies,
normies, man. Yeah, all the people who didn't want to be political or they just saw it. It was crazy. I remember. It's so weird that we call it an era because it was, and it's crazy that it's like right now, dude. 6 years ago, right now, they shut. I remember.
Yeah.
It was before St. Patrick's Day. It was like 12th or 13th. They came in the morning at work, and they straight said, "This is how it's going. We're now on lockdown. Half the crew's going to be working for 10 days. The other half is off for 10 days, and then we're switching." And we did that for like 2 months.
Really?
It was crazy, dude.
I had it easy. I was working in San Francisco.
Okay.
And I was building a high rise.
Uh-huh.
And the fucking roads were empty.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
I could get to San Francisco in like an hour and a half.
Yes.
There was nobody on the road.
Yes.
That was cool.
It was for the moment.
Did
But
to
it's
the
just like,
people.
yeah.
They're not only the brainwashing.
Some people are never coming back from that, dude. They are so. I mean, there's.
Well, so can we get into it?
Yeah.
Like what they've done, and I have a couple clips. Oh, if I got that one, I might have to pull it.
What's that reporter's name?
Which
that girl who I don't remember. She was.
Tell me what she looks like.
Brunette, but she's still got upset that people aren't wearing masks because she's supposedly one of the people that can get ill because she's got some immune.
Well, every time you get a vaccine, it makes your immune system break. It makes it worse.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know what she's talking about.
But she's one of the people that says that it's an immune system.
Was she a media or what is she?
She was. What was she? Oh my God.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember, dude. But she's like in tears, bro.
Oh yeah.
In tears. I'm like, you're never coming back. Believe me, dude. I'm a germaphobe, and I was listening to the news, like outside of the United States, and the stuff that was going on in China, and it was coming, and they were talking about that in like October. And and then the first cases that came off the ship up in Washington State was in February, and then here comes March, and just like it was crazy, dude. We were straight lockdown, martial law, medical martial law. Fucking nuts, dude. I remember. I mean, just think it's so crazy that 6 years ago, dude. Nuts. And I just couldn't. I was in a CPR class this week, and we were talking about that. And the guy who was doing the class was like, "Yeah, dude, he was a fire paramedic firefighter, and he's like, I just never understood. He's breaking down like the N95. He's all the particulates have to be a certain thing. So if COVID is smaller than what an N95, even the N95s weren't working. He's all, it was all bullshit. You know what I mean? And there were just so many people who didn't know. And they did, like you said, all the fear, all the propaganda, and they just kept pumping it out and pumping it out and pumping it out. And they even had, recently, they were talking about when they were on CNN, they would put the totals. And people started getting addicted to that shit, seeing how many people died. Oh man, it just claimed another life. You know what I mean? That tallying of it, man, it just fucking had people absolutely freaked out. It's just, oh my God, man. I'm so glad that era is gone. There's a little bit of normalcy, whatever normal is, but it sure the hell wasn't, you know what I mean? You never see anybody wearing a fucking mask anymore. Thank God.
Pull this in right
Yeah.
It's
Alex looks tired, bro.
yeah, he's fucking wore out, dude.
Yeah, he
fucking
looks.
wore out.
He's.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, back to the regular scheduled show. You know that they bombed Netanyahu's house, right? And killed his son, his dad, or his brother, or something.
I don't care.
I know.
I don't
that's
care.
Why he's saying that.
And I used to say I don't care.
Yeah.
Dude, he's comes over here and fucking 10 days later we're doing shit for them.
I told you, right? Did I tell you about that?
No, what?
So,
Tell me. Tell me.
So this is the word. This is from sources. This is what happened. And I talked about it last night. So when he came the last time, the seventh time that he come to the United States, he comes in there, situation room, and he says, here they have 10 missiles that they're making, nuclear missiles, whatever, that they're making right now, and they're days or weeks away from them being live. We gotta stop them now.
Since 1995, they've been alive.
And then Trump.
Yeah.
So I have a couple clips. We're gonna.
Trump just wants to be Captain Save a World, and I'm like, bro, be Captain Save America, dude, because you're fucking us right now.
And we're both been.
Dude, I've been riding hard for MAGA, dude, and I voted 3 times for this guy, and now he's like fucking me in my pocketbook. I'm like, dude, what the? I don't care about Israel. I'm sorry that Netanyahu died. I'm sorry. I don't want nobody to die.
I don't think he died.
I don't think so either. But
he's on a plane up in the air constantly, so he doesn't get killed. You know
I bet. But dude, he's one of the most fucking corrupt people. They have so many things trying to get fraud and all that other shit on this cat, you know? And I mean, like I said, I don't want him to die. I don't want anybody to die. But dude, what are we doing here? I knew once the bomb started, I knew when we did that shit back in last June. It's like, what are we doing, man? This has nothing to do with America first. I don't care if they say death to America. I don't. I mean, yeah, they've caused a lot of pain and suffering for America. Absolutely. But this is just going to be more, dude. Yeah.
This is why I was saying that about that. Okay?
Yeah.
So check it. And I know for some of you that were here last night, I'm going to play this clip again. There's a couple clips we're going to play again tonight for John because, you know, in this media thing, it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up. I mean, we're sitting here. Alex is talking about something, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that. Oh, and this and that. There's just too much. I mean, I got 50 clips, and I'm like, I can't do 50 clips in a couple hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, it's impossible, but I have all this information.
It would just be play.
Yeah, you'd have
and no talking in between. You know?
So if you look at Alex's desk,
dude, it's crazy. Stacks.
He's got stacks of
and then layered,
and it just never gets covered because there's so much going on all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't keep up. And he's got like 50 people working with him. Not me.
Yeah.
Let's Bill O'Reilly on Glenn Beck on the phone about Trump going into Iran.
How do you read this war, what we're doing, what is coming, and what it's going to mean?
Okay, so a big gamble by President Trump, a big dice roll. And he reached a period in time, in history, where the CIA, NSA, all of our intel jibed with the United Nations and said, look, we knocked out a lot of their nuclear capacity in June of last year, but they have satellites and are close to being able to put together 10 nuclear bombs. Okay, 10. And so that intel came in, and that obviously got Trump's attention. So there was a massive discussion for months about, all right, what do we do? Because what the mullahs did was they decentralized their nuke making capacity. They spread it out rather than having it in one place. So then Mossad went in and Netanyahu, and I don't think the Trump administration is going to mind me saying this, even though it hasn't been made public, but I'm a reporter and I have the information. So Mossad went in and said, look, on this Saturday, the Ayatollah and 25 of his thugs are going to be in this place at this time. So what do you want to do? Now, that was after 3 months of negotiations with the Iranians to stop their nuclear weapons program. And the last negotiation in Geneva, Switzerland, the foreign minister of Iran, walks in and says, you know what? We're not stopping. Blank you. We don't care what you say. We're not stopping. And Witkoff, our chief U.S. negotiator, had a report back to Trump. So that's the information Trump has. Number one, they're close to 10 bombs. Number two, they're all going to be drinking tea on Saturday morning in this spot. And number three, they're saying blank you to the U.S. government. They're not going to stop. That's how the decision was made. Now, ancillary, everybody knows the midterms are coming up, and Americans will largely vote on emotion and how they are feeling about their financial portfolio. But the president believes that he will be victorious in the next month or so. Puts us into April, puts us into China with Xi. And he believes he's going to have momentum after basically dismantling Iran, because that's what they're doing now. They're just wiping out its capacity to do anything, which is not easy. And that's why you're seeing the short-term pain. Now, people believe what they want to believe, and the president is no exception. If it comes his way, then he becomes a great president, which he wants, his legacy. If it doesn't, then the Republicans will probably lose in November. So that's where we are.
And if we lose in November, a lot of people that are in the administration, Trump, all these different people are going to all be in prison. Okay? Breaking news. President Trump, and this is 5 hours ago, but it's breaking news for us tonight. President Trump has announced that the United States, together with its allies, will reopen the Strait of Hormuz by using military force to ensure safe navigation. So it's 21 miles across the Strait of Hormuz. I did a little bit of research on it yesterday or this morning. And he calls on countries to deploy warships to the Strait of Hormuz along with the United States, while America will continue large-scale bombardments along the coastline and the destruction of Iranian military targets. The Marine Corps Expeditionary Force is on its way, as well as the 82nd Airborne Division, as President Trump's war quickly escalates to a new world war. So what happens is, what happens here, and hey, if this was 1975, I would be like, yeah, let's, we got a war, we got the means, and we have the badass motherfuckers to go in and handle it. Great. But we just gave all of our ammunitions to Ukraine.
Yeah.
And then dude,
it doesn't make sense.
A lot.
We're fucking are gonna go absolutely blood.
$85 billion worth of equipment in Afghanistan.
Yeah. We're gonna go fucking bankrupt.
Well, we're already
just
bankrupt.
with bombs alone. Yeah. Our technology is fucking sophisticated and costs millions of dollars to make. Fucking Iran are sending drones one way.
Yes.
It's like, what the? What?
Yeah, we're killing $50,000 drones with
Multi-million
yeah,
dollar
yeah,
fucking pieces of equipment.
So yeah, so I mean,
it's a little lopsided.
It's a little lopsided. So, but you heard what O'Reilly O'Reilly said, and that is enough to go. So it makes sense.
Oh, I knew it, mate.
How it
That's what I
happened.
knew. It was how
You
Trump
know.
was going to be. He wants to be Captain Save a World. He wants that fucking peace, that award, Nobel Peace Prize. He's wanted that since they never fucking
Not
gave
getting
it to him.
like this.
No, I said, "Oh, I'm the peace president. I'm the peace." No, you're not, dude. You just fucking. Now we're talking about invasion type fucking Marines and airborne. You're gonna put fucking our troops on the ground there. If you bumped your fucking old ass head, because now it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Okay, so let's get into second gear.
Yo,
all right,
kick it in
because
sec,
let's
hit the
get it-
clutch.
let's get okay. So over the weekend, last weekend, we heard all this talk, and throughout the week, we heard ABC News coming out talking about drone strikes in California from Iran off of the coast and all this stuff. So I started doing a little bit of research to find out what, because I got like four text messages of people sending me the articles from, different places. I got one from, a few different places. And so I was like, okay, this don't even sound good. And then I read it, and it literally says unverified information. But ABC News put it out, and then other media outlets picked it up. And I think I got one from I got a couple of. I got a few. Anyway, who all covered it isn't as important as the fact that it did. And so I started digging into it, and Sarah Adams covered it on the watch floor, and so I pulled out the piece about the drones and how Iran operates, and the way they do things as a attack force, whether it's sleeper cells or whatever. And I have that clip. We'll play it right now in a minute. And so I'm gonna. The reason why I want to play this is to clear it up, because people in California are worried about drones coming on us, and that's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's unverified. It should have never been put out. It's fear mongering, and unfortunately, they did it. And we got to come behind and clean up their mess. And I'll just say this, and I don't want to be, I don't want to sound like I'm above the mainstream media by any means. I don't want to have that reputation, but when they start talking, you got to first ask, is it verified? Can it be verified? Has it been debunked? I mean, there's all kinds of things that you have to say when any of them, Fox News, CNN, BBC, any of them say, especially, ABC News. So anyway, when you hear that from the media, mainstream media, you really have to verify that, because they want the headline, and that's what
They want the clicks.
They want because think about it, mainstream media has died. They they don't get like people on the internet get millions and millions of views, and they're getting like 10, 20, 50, 100,000 views, and all the alternative media, they're getting millions of views, right? So that's kind of the thing. But we're not talking about analytics right now. We're talking about false drone attack, false flags, or false drone attacks. So let me play this.
The FBI has warned police departments in California that Iran wants to retaliate for American attacks by launching offensive drones against the West Coast, according to an alert reviewed by, ABC News. When I saw this right away, it did not make a lot of sense, because a lot of what we call Iranian sleeper cells aren't exactly attackers. Many of them are doing logistics, fundraising, intelligence collection. Those who are operatives, the type you would think like a terrorist with a gun, the majority of them, they've been tasked with doing kind of the surveillance and all the planning and plotting and reconnaissance around doing like assassination plots. So they haven't been plotting these massive terrorist attacks that we've seen ever in recent years, especially in the last 5 years on US soil. What they've done is targeted specific individuals, obviously most famously President Trump, but then of course, like, you know, the head of CENTCOM, Mike Pompeo, of course, a former national security advisor, John Bolton, and then there's Iranian activists in the country, and they've targeted those, and even just in recent days put out bounties like on some of these female activists that are in the US or in Canada and in Europe, etc. That is their normal modus operandi kind of on US soil. Now, of course, they have a much different plotting and planning structure if they're based in Iran, because they can reach out and touch kind of US military facilities or US diplomatic facilities. So right off the bat, a lot of Iranian watchers were saying, this is very strange. What ABC had put out is that, you know, the Iranians were going to take drones and then shoot them off ships, you know, off the West Coast and into California. So when you actually then go figure out where they got this information from and you look into the plotting, it's very interesting that they put this out at all. So when you go to the law enforcement memo that they said, you know, went to all of these officers in California, the first line of it literally says, not for dissemination to the public or press. This message contains raw information subject to revision and is provided for your situational awareness only. The first line literally says, do not give this to the press. This is unvetted, raw information. So how can a press outlet run with, first off, a single source report, but second, the fact that says it's not ready and it may be revised, and then the next line actually says, we recently acquired unverified information. So even law enforcement was saying, hey, we have not even been able to vet this. And so this was sent to JTTF, right? So of course, the JTTF's all over the country. They work with FBI. They have embeds from FBI, and then they'll take information and pass it down to local law enforcement. Obviously, it's strange this one went forward. From what I heard, it was like an email tip that maybe got sent into the FBI. Now, law enforcement will do this, though, because they sometimes want to see, hey, are there other bits and pieces out there that could marry up with this, that we could confirm it, make it more credible, or just decide it's not credible at all, and then we can make sure, you know, we don't interact in any way with the person who was the source of this information to begin with. So what was really like a benign reach out and sharing attempt with law enforcement ended up getting exaggerated and put out in the press, and then it went viral. A lot of other press outlets picked it up. And again, I want to go back to what I read to you. Again, they said the FBI has warned police departments in California that Iran wants to retaliate for American attacks. So first off, the info is raw, it's unverified. Also, the original timing of the information came in like around mid-February. It came in prior to the latest US bombing of Iran. So obviously the first one is early last year when we attacked their nuclear facilities. And then of course, this time we came back around and attacked their leadership. So this report, this raw information went to the FBI before we even did the bombing. But ABC News says to retaliate for American attacks. They wouldn't even know there were attacks yet. So again, another leap, another piece of exaggeration. And, you know, this is very concerning that this is the type of information we get from our press. And a lot of people, this caused a lot of fear. It made a lot of people concerned. They're like, hey, this is the first time we're hearing about this kind of plot. Law enforcement was really confused because then a lot of press in local cities in California reached out to the law enforcement and they're like, we never saw this memo. So it was just a disaster to begin with. Then the next day, March 12th, the press secretary, for the administration, Carolyn Levitt, put out a statement, and it's pretty harsh, but it's very true. And she says, this post referring to ABC's news post, on their X account regarding this, should be immediately retracted by ABC News for providing false information to intentionally alarm the American people. She goes on to say, they wrote this based on one email that was sent to local law enforcement in California about a single unverified tip. The email even states the tip was based on unverified intelligence. Yet ABC News left out this critical fact in their story. Why? To be clear, no such threat from Iran to our homeland exists, and it never did. Again, this was never a known plot.
And that's the people who are fucking giving us news.
That's your news. That is why I said you cannot trust them.
No.
Well, look, they had a counter up in 21 about how many people were dying.
Yeah, I know.
They had a fucking counter up.
Tally and all
Right?
the people, and that was all it
Just
was.
Fear. And now they're talking about the
And
and you know what,
ABC
hey,
News had a story that they didn't break about Epstein.
Yeah. And
They killed that shit. So fuck them.
Epstein, they killed the laptop. They
Yep.
killed all that stuff. They did. Remember?
Yeah.
19.
Yep.
So,
Bunch of
when
fucking
you
lackeys.
when you get information from the mainstream media, you have to remember that
Check
they're
it. Check it
propaganda.
twice.
They're all about propaganda, and very rare
Mockingbird.
to get any kind of anything that is legit anymore.
And it was so crazy is who set that up? Who set the way that the media could be used for propaganda?
Well, yeah,
Fucking
Obama.
President Obama.
Yeah, for sure. So
Fuck,
let's
another piece
let's
of shit.
get into this. I'm going to play a few clips to kind of catch up because we're a little bit behind, so we can get the rest of the Iran stuff done. Because we jumped ahead once we started getting into Iran. I just figured we just go there. I still have the first half of the show that we'll do second because
That's
Alex
how we
Jones,
do.
Alex Jones derailed us, of course. And you know what? Hey, we're just here giving you the goods without a bunch of bullshit and no lies, and we're just telling you the truth. And so subscribe to the channel. Let me put
Give it a thumbs up.
yeah.
Share it.
QR code in the top corner is for My Patriot Supply. Listen, times like this, you don't know what you're up against. We don't know if they're going to cut the water off, the electricity, the food's going to dry up. If this war gets any worse, you're going to need medications. You need to pay attention to that kind of stuff. Listen, My Patriot Supply, it's about 45% off. They have payment plans where you can pay, a fourth down, and pay in monthly installments. They have all kinds of deals that you could do. They will work with you so that you can get what you need. If it was me, or when it was me, when I was freaking out about all this stuff way back when they were locking us in our house and telling us that nobody could go out, and all this stuff. I mean, I went to work every day, but beside the point, what they were trying to do to us is lock us up, put us, and I've talked about this before, and I don't want to get in a jag, but if Hillary Clinton would have got elected back in 2016, we would have went right into some kind of martial law thing. We would have went to war with Iran way back then, just so you know. Anyway, so My Patriot Supply, it's in the description, in the show notes. You can also find it there. Check it out. Get yourself caught up. Make sure that you're, that if something happens, they have generators. They have this 3300 that is just badass. It'll run your whole house. It will. It'll run your whole house. And and the water supply.
The Alexa Pro is amazing.
Pro is great. And it comes with extra filters. All of that. Just check it out. You know what I mean? And use my code to get in there, please. Anyway, all right, let's go.
Ya Allah, you!
Tel Aviv.
يا ابوي وصلنا الطلق.
Okay, guys, we got to get off the roof. These are coming down right next to us here. They're coming down. One just about. We got to go inside.
And I will tell you right now, God bless this man. This is what every single family needs to do here in America. Every single mother, daughter, father, brother, sister, cousin that is above the age of 18, you need to be recording videos like this saying, I'm not going for number one. Number two, you're not taking my son. You're not taking my daughter. You're not taking my aunt, my uncle, whoever that you hold dear. That message needs to be sounded and needs to be sounded loud and clear. Everybody start doing exactly what this man is doing right here in this video. His name is Rodney Shue. Do what this man is doing. Please, God bless you. If you are an American citizen and you want our troops to come home and you want to end this war, this needs to be so loud that every person that picks up their phone and scrolls tomorrow sees a video like this. God bless you guys. Check this video out. Let me know what you think.
Oh, and I almost forgot. Let me put this shit out in the ether, out in the streets. My kids, my two sons, one of which is 19, freshman in college. The other is 21, works for a multi-billion-dollar race team, travels all over the country, living his best life. They've got their whole lives ahead of them. They are not, and I repeat, they are not fucking going to fight a war for a fucking foreign entity and die when they've got their whole lives ahead of them. Not fucking happening. My sons aren't going. Draft, don't give a fuck about a draft. They're not going. I'm just, like I said, I'm putting this out in the streets right now. I don't give a fuck. They're not going. It's not fucking happening. Or anyone I know is not going to let their sons go over there and fucking die for this madness. Not going to fucking happen. Regime change. I don't give a fuck. Go to fight for oil, steal gold of the third temple. I don't care. They're not going. They're not going. You can come and get me first. You can come and get me. I'm in good enough shape. I'm in good enough shape, and I don't give a fuck. Like I said, just letting you know. Not going. It's not happening. You're not taking my sons over to some foreign land to die for your fucking proxy war and your fucking money laundering war. It's not happening. It's not happening. I hope you see it. And I hope you know, myself or anyone I know is not going to allow it to happen. So are millions of people. It's just not going to happen. All right? So do what you got to do. You're not getting my sons.
And this is the same message that you're going to hear from every single parent in America. You guys want a war? We'll give you one. We, our fathers, will put our boots on right here, right now on U.S. soil, and y'all can come get the fucking smoke before you're taking our children to this war. So you guys can play whatever games, but the entire world's watching. And you don't think people in Iran and the leaders in Iran are watching channels like mine and people like us, like the Ian Carrolls, the Candace Owens, the Jake Shields, the fucking Dan Balzerians, and we're all saying the same fucking thing. It doesn't matter if you're a blue-haired leftist or you're the farthest far-right, woke Reich conservative like Nick Fuentes. We all have the same message. And it's, we're not sending our children off to die for the Jews. Period, full stop. Listen to this father, somebody that probably doesn't even pay attention to any of this shit. Doesn't seem like he does. And he's over here talking about the third temple. That's how you know they fucking know. Everybody knows. We're all fucking awake. We're all putting the pieces together. Maybe not as fast as some like myself, but they're putting the pieces together. Give it another 90 days. Bring home another 1,000 of our sons and daughters home in body bags and watch how quickly the dynamic over here on social media changes.
The only people who support this war are those born between 1946 and 1964 who watch a lot of Fox News. That's it. I'm not attacking them. By the way, they're Americans. They're my equals as Americans. I love a lot of them. But their perspective on the US and the world is very different from everyone else's. Very, very different. And so they're not the ones who got Donald Trump elected, actually. The people who got Donald Trump elected are the people who hadn't voted for Republicans before or even voted at all before. And they're like Joe Rogan listeners, or people who use nicotine pouches. They're Hispanic voters. They're young black men. They're non-traditional Republican voters who voted for Trump because he promised not to keep doing the same thing. And one of the things he promised not to do again was to hand operational authority over to Benjamin Netanyahu, as other presidents have. We don't want any more of that. Why would we? And we're not going to make Mark Levin or Ben Shapiro, who have almost no organic support in the media world, like no one really watches them. We're not going to hand control of our foreign policy over to people like that who don't know anything and who don't have America's interests at heart or even in mind. So breaking faith with those people, those voters, the ones who actually got Trump elected and whose coalition promised a new day in American politics, that's a big deal. It's a betrayal on the level that I don't think people who aren't in those groups can understand. Like, this is heartbreaking. And by the way, a lot of those people really like Trump. They like his style. They think he's hilarious. He's brave. You know, he's just like, they like him. And to see this is, it's so wounding. It hurts. I've got a bunch who work for me. I'm related to some, they're all Trump voters. And I talked to them in the last 24 hours. Boy, they're upset. They're not just mad. Like, I hate Israel. That's not the impulse. They're definitely starting to hate Israel. Why wouldn't they? Our relationship with Israel is hurting us gravely. It's getting Americans killed. So they're mad, but it's more than mad. I can't believe he did this to us. I feel just so depressed about it.
Yep. Hold on.
In other words, the Iranians will push this war until the United States and the West recognize that attacking Iran is not an option, not now and not ever again. So this war is not going to end anytime soon unless the other side capitulates. And even when the other side backs down, there will be changes. Iran will not accept Arab family dictatorships hosting US bases that can harm us. And they will have to pay compensation for the slaughter and the murder that has been carried out. None of these regimes are innocent. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, none of them are innocent. All of them host US bases. All of those US bases have been used to conspire against Iran. All of them have been used to kill Iranians, murder Iranians, and not just Iranians. They've been used to kill people in Yemen. They've been used to kill people in Lebanon in a different way. So this war will end with a shift in the balance of power in this region. The axis of resistance will no longer accept a hanging sword above it. That sword has to be broken, and it will be broken, God willing.
Iranian soldiers themselves are beginning to openly admit it. They're admitting that this is completely a lost cause. Take a look. This is a member of the paramilitary volunteer militia known as the Bazish. They're under the command of the IRGC, and he's recording himself abandoning his post, saying the Islamic Republic is finished. Quote, "This is the Bazish barracks, which until recently was a school. Everyone is left and is leaving. I'm going home too. It seems to me that the regime's work is finished and we should surrender. I just hope people don't take revenge on us." And Israeli television is reporting that there are growing reports of mass desertions within Iran's Revolutionary Guards, according to a source close to the organization, those with financial means, are reportedly fleeing the country.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, want to cover some of this stuff? We're not sending our sons and daughters. Listen,
the fuck you are
listen,
taking my son.
yeah,
I'll tell you that right now.
This is the thing. If this was a war that was needed to protect the United States of America, I'd take my son to the fucking recruiter. You know what I mean? But that's not what this is. This is an Israel war. It's a Ukrainian war. It's a Afghanistan war. We haven't fought a war for ourselves and I don't know when. World War II?
And we got drug into that.
I'm sure.
That was some bullshit too with Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But I don't know, dude. I'm just, it's like Tucker said, it's a fucking betrayal, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I voted for you because you fucking, and I know they're all snakes in the grass. I know they're fucking politicians.
Right.
You shouldn't trust them. But he had good bullshit. And the thing is, I felt for his bullshit. And here we are, once again, in a fucking desert wasteland, wasting our fucking energy, people dying. For what? I mean, because they have news, they have bombs of mass destruction. They had that shit made up in Iraq.
Well,
so I don't believe that shit. I want proof.
The information that I have is that they've had nuclear weapons for a long time.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, so
the guy from North Korea, he's saying he fucking he'll sell him some shit.
Rocket Man.
Yeah. But it's just like, dude, you were turning the ship around. I was seeing it. I was like, all right, America's fucking finally turning around.
Well, he got tricked into, and I played the clip last night. I'm not going to pull it back up.
And he's too fucking proud to say, hey, you know what? I was fucking duped.
He told us on live TV that Hegseth and Rubio and Kirshner said that this was a 2-3 day war and when they'd be out, they lied to him. He didn't say it like that, but he blamed it on them. Should I pull it?
Yeah.
Should I pull that?
Yes.
All right, let's
fucking run them up a flagpole, dude. Because now, how many people have died? American soldiers have died. That, oh no, there's not going to be any deaths, motherfucker. They're starting.
7 that I know of, but there was 6 that died in the refueling jet that went down a couple days ago.
Yeah.
We play this clip and I'll find that.
Yeah.
Because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard, it's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump, because you want him not to be successful so bad, you have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt, manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots are successful. How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, I don't know, fly a plane for 36 hours? MSNBC done that story? As Fox? Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? Or what it's like to man a Patriot battery? Or how hard it is to refuel midair? Giving the American people an understanding of how complex and sophisticated this mission really was. There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that because of the hatred of this press corps are undermined because people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful. It's irresponsible. And folks in this room are privy to that information because of the proximity here in the Pentagon. It's an important responsibility. Time and time again, classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad. And what's really happening is you're undermining the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots and incredible refuelers and incredible air defenders who accomplished their mission, set back a nuclear program in ways that other presidents would have dreamed. How about we celebrate that? How about we talk about how special America is, that only we have these capabilities? I think it's too much to ask, unfortunately, for the fake news. So we're used to that. But we also have an opportunity to stand at the podium and read the truth of what's really happening. And the reality is, you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated, choose your word. This was an historically successful attack, and we should celebrate it as Americans. And it gives us a chance to have peace, chance to have a deal, and an opportunity to prevent a nuclear Iran, which is something President Trump talked about for 20 years.
The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco, so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would do this. The time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us.
You just gambled your fucking. I'll move, bro.
So, you know, this is what we do here. We put all the information together.
Yeah.
And so we have a reporter that was there talking. It was in the situation, wherever, you know, when they were making the decision, O'Reilly, and what he said was they made a gamble. Okay. And then we have him saying that what happened was they talked him into it, or they told him that it was going to be an in and out thing. They're all warmongers. You know, they're all Israel first. That's what they are. And so this is why we're where we're at right now. And as much as I would love to say, you know, Trump, I can't for this one.
No,
I mean, this is
that's
one that
what's
I can't.
turning my guts right now.
Yeah, and
is I want to be all, yeah, fuck America. That's how it is.
Right.
But not this.
Right. This is bad.
This is bad, dude.
And they're gonna. And I have a 17-year-old.
I have a 22-year-old.
Right.
And he ain't going to fucking war for fucking Jews. He's not. I don't care. I mean, I'm not doing that. Just like that dude said on fucking his TikTok. I'm not having it. Fucking bullshit, dude. And I just can't. It's like, mother. Want to be loved so much. You had the opportunity to turn this motherfucker around, and you're just fucking burying. Every day that those straits are fucking blocked, we get deeper and deeper. Gas is fucking ridiculous here in California. Down in LA, we're at $8 fucking. Right now, I just put gas in my wife's car.
Good thing it's a small car.
Yeah, thank God.
Okay,
but it's still fucking cost an arm and a leg.
Hold that thought.
Well, the Pentagon told Trump not to go to war with Iran because they'd done a lot of the war games, not just militarily, but economically, and said it would basically go from bad to worse. But Trump is the president. He's not a puppet. He does what he thinks is best, and he thinks Israel's right. And that somehow we would have some big, quick, magic victory. He was bolstered by Venezuela, which I was worried about. Venezuela is a totally different situation than Iran. Oil prices are up 11%. They're estimated by the major oil companies and consortiums to double within a month.
You saw prices surge 25%, oil Brent nearing $120. And then there was an FT report just out in the last hour or so saying that G7 members will be meeting later today, early U.S. morning, to discuss a potential joint release of the strategic oil reserves. And then prices kind of tapered a bit. You're still above $100 a barrel, which is huge.
If the strait continues to be cut off, it is causing a cascading effect of the economy. And we've gone over the different economists' analysis. They all agree that a closure of the Strait of Hormuz for 3 months would more than double the price of oil and send shockwaves. It would take, even if it opened back up, many months to reverse. And if you got 6 months of oil prices being doubled, you pack that into the economy as the truest form of inflationary drive. and you get the entire Trump recovery plan 100% dead in the water and the U.S. bankrupt for sure. And a lot of people were like, look, Jones just now discovered that Israel controls U.S. foreign policy. No.
The deadline for attaining this goal is getting extremely close. And Iran, by the way, is also outpacing Iraq in the development of ballistic missile systems that they hope will reach the eastern seaboard of the United States.
They have meddled, and they've been trying to get us to go to full war with Iran for 40 years. And they didn't have full control, or it would have happened. Now, I'm saying now they do, and they're calling the shots. You cut and dry. That's the big demarcation line. The Secretary of State saying, oh, yeah, Israel did this, so we have to. It's that it's cut and dry. There's no debate about it.
Biden released the money, gave it to the mullahs. The mullahs turned around and financed Hezbollah, Hamas, October 7th, the Houthis, and whatever other terror groups they could fund. That's what happened.
We got to talk about how we get back control of the country. So Trump's entire agenda to secure the dollar, get us out of the edge of bankruptcy, get tens of trillions of investment in, reindustrialize the country, stop World War III with Russia. His entire laudable agenda is in deep, deep trouble over the Iran situation. He was advised by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the majority of his advisors. The majority said, bare minimum, this is a major destabilizer, will massively jack up energy prices, and will cause a cascading effect. Don't do it. And Trump still did it. And the Strait of Hormuz is still shut down, and it's going to be shut down for a long time because the Iranians haven't even tried to block it completely yet. They just sunk a few ships. And now the U.S. says we're going to escort you through. And they got a bunch of oil drilling rigs that have their own engines and their own systems, and they could just turn those on and send them right out and turn the motors off and deflate them, and they go to the bottom. And the U.S. can sit there and try to stop them while they do it, but the Iranians are suicidal. They'll just continue to do it. Maybe it takes them a few hours until it just, like Tetris, just piles up all the wreckage, and now it's shut. And now every time we try to go haul it out or dredge it out, they're going to be shooting at us. We'll be shooting at them, and then you know what's going to happen. We've got to send in troops just to secure the IRC headquarters. That's where that little tip sticking down from Iran, that peninsula, that's where the IRC headquarters is, right across from that tip, right on the other side of that island. They got all their bunkers and all their secret bunkers and all their spider holes and all their weapons, and they got trap doors with good old-fashioned artillery, heavily militarized on both sides, and all they got to do is roll it out, and they can sink whatever they want. So that's called putting yourself in checkmate.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm for a man who has always been on top of like his decisions. This was
Trump? It's
Trump.
bad.
This is dumb, dude.
Bad. So we'll cover more of this later in the days to come. I'm staying on it. I gotta tell you, this is probably going to be. Do you know who Brandon Biggs is by chance? Brandon Biggs is a prophet.
Okay.
I don't know if you believe in that or not. People that, like Alex is similar to that. Like it's these visions of things that happen through dreams and different things. Well, this dude, Brandon Biggs, had a dream 6 months before Trump was shot in the ear that he was going to get shot in the ear. Okay. And he does this show on YouTube. And he, sometimes it's just pray with me, and he'll pray for hours, and he'll get these visions, and he talks about the things that he writes stuff down. Him and his kids in the background is like a producer. He'll write stuff down, and then they'll broadcast what visions he has. He had a vision all back that Trump was going to be sitting in the Situation Room with his hands on his face. The economy was going to go astronomically through the roof, and it was going to be a complete disaster, but that he was going to come out of it at some point. This vision, but that it was going to happen. And, you know, obviously there's no date, no time, you know, stuff like that. But he predicted this whole thing was happening. So,
Well, he's fucking the little guy who fucking got him in office.
yeah. And it's, I believe it is a betrayal that he didn't see. It's betrayal because he's the commander in chief and he's listening to these Israel first motherfuckers that talk to me.
Or Ukrainian first, the fucking Lindsey Grahams of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I bet John Bolton's just fucking happier and shit.
Oh yeah, they're all. I gotta. Oh, I got it. I'm gonna just jump to it real quick here. Let me find it. Where'd I put it? Let's play. Ranch, and I'll find it.
State investigators, backed by the New Mexico Department of Justice under Attorney General Raul Torres, launched a full-scale search of the former Epstein estate.
The so-called Truth Commission seeks to identify ranch guests and state officials who may have known what was going on at the 7,600-acre property or taken part in alleged sexual abuse.
The fact of the matter was that he was basically doing anything he wanted in this state without any accountability whatsoever. And the ranch that exists out near Stanley, New Mexico, is basically on a 2-lane highway in the middle of nowhere. It was him with an airstrip and a sprawling place that he brought folks to that we know very little, if nothing, about.
Now renamed San Rafael Ranch and owned by Texas businessman Don Huffine since 2023, oddly enough.
This was obviously a dark place, and we wanted to put light in a dark place. It always shines the brightest when you do that.
Hang on a minute. Why did Republican Texas Comptroller candidate Don Huffines, through his venture firm Hest Investments, pour $1.8 million into Secretome Therapeutics back in 2024, a biotech outfit pushing regenerative medicine with their lead product STM-01, derived from neonatal cardiac progenitor cells sourced from babies under 30 days old, specifically infant heart tissue from newborns with congenital defects undergoing surgery. Meanwhile, Huffine's family snapped up Jeffrey Epstein's notorious Zorro Ranch in New Mexico at public auction years after the notorious transhumanist's death. A Texas politician tied to Epstein property in New Mexico, who is now invested in transhumanist therapies, literally banking on infant hearts. Bizarre. Epstein openly discussed using the ranch as a base for outlandish eugenics-inspired schemes, including plans to impregnate multiple women with his DNA to seed an improved human race through artificial insemination and genetic engineering, ideas he pitched to scientists from the Santa Fe Institute and other elite circles he courted in New Mexico.
My name is Juliet Bryant. I was kidnapped by Jeffrey Epstein 22 years ago. A lot of frightening things happened there. I went outside to have a cigarette. I saw these 3 lights in a triangle formation. Everything got weird. I felt very scared. But then what happened is I got locked out. I couldn't get back in. That's also the time when I had that sort of flashback where I wake up paralyzed in a lab. There were 6 beings in hazmat suits around me. There was like a female doctor by my head.
It's okay. Everything is gonna be okay.
I think they were taking our eggs.
Whispers of even darker horrors have swirled around Zorro Ranch for years, fueled by an anonymous 2019 email purporting to come from a former staffer claiming that 2 foreign girls died by strangulation during rough fetish sex and were buried in the quiet hills nearby on orders from Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
In fact, there are records dating back to the mid-1990s of abuse happening at the ranch, including a report to the FBI in 1996 by a survivor and multiple other reports over the years. And one of the significant and important pieces of this case is to understand why justice was never pursued at the state, local, or federal level.
Zorro Ranch isn't short of strange. Back in July 2008, right as Epstein was checking into his cushy Florida jail suite for that sweetheart plea deal, his Zorro Trust suddenly clutched a $80 million winning Powerball ticket by none other than Bryce Gordon, Epstein's longtime ranch manager and the guy listed as trustee who signed off on the payout. The payout is confirmed by public records. Sounds more like a payoff. Epstein starts prison time and boom, his New Mexico playground gets an 8-figure cash infusion, likely to keep something very quiet. This renewed scrutiny could finally unearth long-buried truths or expose how deep the rot truly went in Epstein's empire of exploitation and delusion. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
Yeah, you gotta love Jeffrey Epstein. I found that clip that I was talking about. We'll get back to the Epstein thing here in a second, and hold that thought on what you're thinking about there. Let me play this clip about what Hillary. Now listen. So John Bolton, Hillary Clinton, all the warmongers, all the they're all praising Trump right now.
Oh yeah.
Watch
bet.
this. Let's listen.
I think all of that is a very good signal that there is beginning to be a better understanding, both by the president and the people around him, as well as by the leaders of our European allies, that there can be common ground amongst us. And the kind of dismissiveness that we saw in the first Trump administration has been replaced by a much more obvious working relationship to the good of European security, transatlantic security, and hopefully Ukrainian security. So I'm actually encouraged.
Trump is doing much better in his second term, Hillary Clinton. You ever think you'd hear that from her? He came
at what?
Listen, President Trump came out last month and said that he was very disappointed that we, the American people, were being so hard on Trump or on Bill.
On Bill.
Remember that? Did you remember seeing that?
I didn't see that.
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, I just thought I'd play that clip for you. So just get your.
Yeah, I mean, hey, something's changed about the guy. That's the sad truth.
So when they pulled Elon, it's been downhill since then. They got rid of Elon Musk. It's been downhill.
Yeah, he was full bore fuck the establishment, and now it's like he's more establishment than ever. It's crazy, dude.
It's not good.
No. I mean, somebody's got his ear, and it's not good at all.
Right. So
I believe that the American government is sort of trapped by the Israelis. Jeffrey Epstein is one of their tools to trap them.
And what do you think of Dershowitz's denial?
Hold on a second. I want to give you an example. Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton, Ehud Barak met Arafat in the 90s, and there was no deal. The reason was Epstein. They were being blackmailed by Epstein. Ehud Barak was also a friend of Epstein, the prime minister of Israel at the time. But he was being blackmailed by the Israeli right wing as well. And they
Hey, Epstein class, you may think that whatever happened on that island or happened in Epstein's mansion is not going to haunt you. Let me tell you who is going to haunt you. It's the prosecutors at the state court level who still care about the Constitution, the laws, and justice for everyone, including victims. We are a problem for you because there are things that some of you did in our local jurisdictions that violate state laws. We are coming for you. The period of time we have to bring these charges is very long because we're talking about the potential victimization of children. And when we come for you, and if we are able to convict you, the sentence you get, you will serve because you cannot be pardoned by this or any other president. The project to fight against federal overreach, the organization of state court prosecutors and their allies who are ready to make sure there is accountability when it comes to federal officers committing crimes in their jurisdictions, we're also ready to make sure that there's accountability when it comes to Epstein.
I wonder if he knows that because listen, he's referring to Trump. That's what he's referring to. He's referring to Trump. But we know that if there was anything about Trump in the Epstein files that were legitimate, they would have already buried him.
Oh,
for
years
sure.
ago.
But I have this.
They would have had it when Biden was in there.
Yeah. So I have this other clip that that you told me about, where he's talking about going after ICE. This same DA is talking about going after ICE officers and arresting them whenever, in 30 years or whatever. That's what it takes. So let's play that. Let's talk about Larry
Krasner.
Krasstein.
Bunch of wannabe Nazis. That's what
Not
they
gonna
are.
play it all.
In a country of 350 million, we outnumber them. If we have to hunt you down the way they hunted down Nazis for decades, we will find your identities. We will find you. We will achieve justice.
Tonight, Philadelphia's top prosecutor, the district attorney, Larry Krasner, is facing criticism, a lot of criticism on the right, for those comments that he made this Tuesday about federal immigration agents, including from Republican Pennsylvania Congressman who said that to Krasner's vow to hunt down ICE agents, he claimed is the behavior of a psychopath with a badge. Larry Krasner joins me now, and thank you, sir, for being here. Can we just start first on your comment that you're going to hunt down federal agents? I mean, understandably, people had a lot of questions about that.
Well, I'll tell you, the KKK was very upset. They sent me communication. So did a bunch of other white supremacists. Yeah, that's criticism coming from them. I had one explaining that I should die in a gas chamber, just like in the good old days of 1939. There are some people who are all in on a fascist takeover of this country who do not like the comparison to what happened in Nazi Germany. But the point I was making is actually very straightforward. When you kill people, we can hunt you down and bring you to justice in 10 years or 20 or 30 years, just like what happened with the Golden State Killer, who was a serial killer in California. That's how it worked. It worked that way with the Nazis, but it also works with all kinds of other criminals who commit terrible crimes.
But couldn't you have made that point without comparing them to Nazis?
Why would I do that? The reality is they're taking almost everything they do out of the Nazi playbook. And I say that as the son of a volunteer who served in World War II, who explained his experiences to me, and nearly all of whose uncles, my uncles, also served in World War II as well. Some of them didn't come back. That's where we are. We're in a moment when there is a war against the truth, which is what fascists do, when the emphasis is on racism and xenophobia, which is what fascists do when the tactic is to constantly say the law is what it is not, and to try to undermine all of our institutions. I have no problem saying I view the leadership of this administration as working off a playbook they took from the Nazis.
I think the point is only Nazis are Nazis, and you can criticize ICE agents' tactics, the ones we've seen on the ground, without saying that they are like Nazis.
You know, I didn't say all ICE agents are like Nazis. I was actually very specific, and I always am, that there are a lot of great federal officers, a lot of great state officers. But when they commit terrible crimes, like criminal homicide, like obstructing the administration of justice by covering up a killing, when they do those things, they're like everyone else, and they have to be pursued. You know, they may want to say that war crimes are not war crimes, but they are. They may want to say murder is not murder, but it is, and this country knows that.
John Fetterman, the senator from.
All right, so this dude is, you know, I agree that we should go after all the Epstein file people. Anybody that's in the Epstein files, we should go after them and we should prosecute them to the fullest. Now, when he starts talking this liberal talking points about ICE agents being Nazis and all that stuff, that totally discredits everything that he says in the previous video, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. And you know, what do you think?
He's just he's a woke DA.
Yeah,
you know, and
anyway,
he'll have his fall, because they all do. They'll overstep something or overlook something or give something away that they shouldn't have. But I mean, he wants points. I mean, so fucking tired of hearing about Nazis, dude.
Right.
I mean, what? How long has it been? 10 years? 11 years since we started hearing that shit? Yeah, it is 11 years, because it happened in 2015 when he came down the escalator. Started hearing it then, you know? So, I mean, hey, whatever. I just think he's a fucking nut job, dude. And he is somebody with a badge. So he's the top cop in the state of Pennsylvania.
Right.
Well, you know, that's scary. But I hope they do go against and get the people that did what they did to children. You know?
Absolutely. Let's hope. All right, let's look at this propaganda. So much here, so I'm just trying to get the important stuff because I know we're running out of time.
How did you learn about predictive programming? How did you learn about the Satanism? How did you, and now you're on the biggest show in the world, Joe Rogan, talking about it. I mean, that was a big move. I mean, or maybe you talked about it before. What's the process there?
Well, I mean, several things happen. A lot of it is a lot of these. I mean, there were a number of WikiLeaks dumps that that occurred, and one of them was about Sony Pictures. And I started investigating and reading all of the documents that were suddenly available, and it was like suddenly I realized, oh, like, why didn't anybody tell me that's what the film industry is? And I it was one of those things I always I think I understood, like. One can think of Hollywood as being the propaganda wing of our government. But something happened over the course of, and it was probably during the Biden presidency, where I started, looking around, and I started, realizing that there was this kind of echo chamber in Hollywood. And I just definitely was not part of that. And then this most recent revelation with all of the Epstein papers coming out, and I started reading those as well. And then with what happened with COVID, and and I had been working on a script about this virologist in Manitoba, in Winnipeg. And I was writing a screenplay about her, and she's a Chinese virologist who was the person who had developed the inoculations for leprosy. And it was a huge success, big, huge success. You know, Chinese company is manufacturing all that stuff in California. And I was writing a story kind of about, you know, what it's like to be a rock star and you have a hit and then you're looking for your next hit. And I started noticing that, and there was all these articles that have since been, you know, somewhat suppressed. I think it was in the Winnipeg Free Press, where or City Press, and where she had been caught by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police shipping various copyrighted viruses like, you know, Hanta and you know, all of them.
Which, by the way, appeared to be souped up versions.
Yeah, souped up versions, and they were shipping them directly from Winnipeg to Wuhan on Air Canada freight. And then the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, you know, there's all the, you know, they have to, you know, everything's published, but they've redacted who her financier was. And when I started doing the research on it, I realized, well, it's one of three people, and those guys are the obvious people who you would think. And then suddenly I started realizing this is really nefarious. And then when COVID hit and they left the Kowloon Bridge open on purpose, you know, during Chinese New Year when this was happening, you know, just kind of allowing everybody to flow out. And, you know, all the stuff that was happening during that time, it was like, this is intentional. This is, you know, the first time it's happenstance, the second time it's coincidence, the third time it's enemy attack. And I started realizing, oh, we're under enemy attack. And then the way our own local California government was behaving at that time, how they were, you know, quarantining people on army bases, but then allowing people to go in and out of those quarantine areas. It was almost like no one is that stupid. And yeah, that was her. And so I was writing a script about her. And so I started realizing no one is that stupid. This is intentional. We're intentionally doing this. And then everything just kind of, and look at this ridiculousness that we went through as a culture. And this was so, it hammered on us and damaged us so badly. And then I started realizing, because I'm a movie guy, that, you know, that there were clues. There was the Soderbergh movie that had come out, Contagion, where basically they are talking about their you know, is it cautionary? Are they cautioning us that this is going to happen? Or are they preparing us that it's going to happen through revelation of the method?
And then the documents come out that it was psychological warfare run by the defense ministries, Canada, the US, the UK, to scare us to create this new civilization, to train us for carbon lockdowns in the future. So you, like many others, were already somewhat away. But COVID and all of it with what you already knew was so obvious. Now it's confirmed that that pushed you over the edge. And they thought Disease X and all their Rockefeller documents going back 30 years would bring in their world government. Instead, they now admit at Davos, it's destroyed them. It's discredited them. No one believes anything they say now.
Yeah, and thank God. I mean, this was an attack on the people. And I'm one of those people. And so when I kind of realized this and what was going on, and then I started looking around, and, you know, all my friends and everybody, they're all just happily getting shots, you know, and now they're just dying left and right. And so, you know, when this started happening, I started, I think, forming a much heavier distrust of authority.
So,
yeah, so predictive programming, Civil War, Leave the World Behind, you know, all these movies. There's another one out. I can't, it was with, what's his name? What's it called? Damn it. Another one just came out recently about going after ICE agents. And remember that movie came out? I can't remember what it's called right now.
Yeah, dude.
With, what is his name?
I don't even
anyway, so this predictive programming is another form of what they're doing to us right now. And if you think about it, what they're doing right now, it's all psyops. It's all part of this plan to, you know, keep us in fear and freaked out. And now it's a war. Before that, it was Epstein files. Before that, it was Charlie Kirk. Before that, it was something else and something else. It just doesn't end.
Never ends.
It never ends. And, It's one of the main reasons why I'm here, because I want to break through the propaganda. I mean,
dude, just to see those fucking pictures,
Those
bro. Like I was talking
yeah.
about earlier, dude, they put fucking band players in these fucking tents
yeah.
for nothing.
No, it was real. It was real. It was to get you. So they create. The truth is,
For the fucking sniffles.
Listen, they created COVID so that they could sell the vaccine for billions and billions and billions of dollars. That's what that was.
Have you noticed that Trump never says nothing about that shit no more?
Well, he got his ass kicked too many times about that.
Yeah.
But
like,
he
dude,
still says, "Oh, I created a vaccine." Blah blah blah.
That's great.
But listen, they created COVID so they could sell the vaccine to kill people.
Well, bro, to be honest, I mean,
People
I'll
are
be one
dying
of the
every day.
people that says the shit. That motherfucker wrote all those checks to keep everybody afloat. That's what started the downfall.
Oh,
so all the money that
the
he fucking
stimulus checks?
yeah. So he set this motherfucking shit, and it's just like all those things that I was like,
Trump, you blew it.
You fucking
because
blew it,
now
dude.
everything that people were a little sketchy about is all on the surface. It's
Yep.
it's like being married to somebody and you make a mistake and she brings everything that you've done the last 10 years up and just hounds and pounds on you about it because she's pissed off, and your base is on your fucking ass right now because this is the one thing that you shouldn't have done. I
Nope.
mean, there's been other times that he's made mistakes,
And we
behind
overlooked them.
advisors.
We overlooked them. I overlooked a lot of shit because I was like, okay, all right, well, America first. But this,
well, the question I have, if we're gonna really talk about, and I know that we're running out of time,
it's all
and
good.
you know,
Hit it.
but one of the things I want to talk about is what happened to Charlie Kirk. Like, what happened to that? It went bam. It's just it didn't even take off. I mean, it happened, and like
I don't
it's
even hear about even the dude who killed him anymore.
he didn't kill him. A
I
couple
know.
days
Still-
later, it was over, and the only ones that were talking about it was alternative media. They put that under just like Butler, and you know I've seen some conspiracy theories about Butler. Now it makes more sense when I
Well,
look at 'em.
Charlie, what I think Charlie was is fucking pulling and saying no to Israel.
It was,
and I know everything.
it was
Oh, you
just
just
war.
don't like Israel. You
It was
know,
just war.
if something looks like shit, stinks like shit, tastes like shit, you're probably shit. And the thing that keeps on coming up in everybody's mouth is how it's Israel. And I don't care about Israel. I'm not a fucking anti-Semite. None of that shit. But in the circles that may be, it's always something that has to do with. He was supposed to get a shitload of money from one of those PACs, and he was pulling away from.
Yeah, $2 million.
Yeah. Away from following
let's
Israel
get
stuff,
into this.
bro.
Let's
Yeah.
see if we can't run this down here. Before we do, because we'll just because I got a few things that let's just lighten it up for a second here.
Yep.
Let's lighten it up. Hold on.
Shabbat Shalom Air Force Academy. As you know, I have taken over for Charlie, your hero and my beloved husband. It's hard to say late husband because one of the values that you learn here at the Academy, it's discipline. Charlie believed God is in the air. He told me, I want to be with the Air Force. If you're ever called to serve, I need you to stop and serve. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If this country calls you to serve, you serve. And that's what you'll do as a patriot of the United States of America. And your life can change in the blink of an eye, don't I know? September 10th. You get an opportunity for some reason, the 25th Amendment. You're called to become vice president. Get looked at in the eye. The only person who uses the same eyeliner as you. And we ask you to serve, you serve. I'm asking you to serve. And You can go and fight for your country and make sure that Iran doesn't mess with Israel or the United States ever again. Our hero. I do have merch available also.
We are Charlie Kirk.
Hey, Erica, why were you just appointed to the Air Force Academy Board over the weekend quietly to make recommendations on changes to the Air Force Academy?
My husband was on the board. I'm just taking his place.
You have no qualification. When Kobe Bryant died, did his wife take over? When Senator Bob Graham died, did his wife take over as senator? Because that's not how that works.
Donald Trump saw how wonderful I am.
Or it could be that you're from a famous crime family. On both sides. Actually, your mom's side, Loretta Abbas was her maiden name. Yeah, she was named after her grandmother, Loretta Abbas, who was a notorious crime lady. This is so many news articles of her arrests of laundering money, dirty money schemes, things to do with casinos. Here's an article about her husband being arrested after a high-speed chase with police, and he was also doing dirty money schemes as well with the mob.
My mother is a Christian woman.
Are you sure? Because your mom's been married 4 times, and all of her husbands have had something to do with little schemes that she was in, and she starts businesses and kills businesses, and she lobbies the government for money for charter schools that actually mess with little kids' mind. Oh, I'm sorry, they use psychology to help kids at charter schools that you went to. And actually this guy who worked with Stanford on ways to manipulate the mind to help drug users in the 60s, which is weird because that was a time that there was this thing called MK something that was happening. Anyways, he worked at the school that you went to.
Stop.
Yeah, but the Bush family and the Walton family funded it. They had elite psychologists there. Anyways, you went there. It was called the Arizona Tazarek School, inspired by a book called Wrinkle in Time, which is a fun kids book about a battle between good and evil. And it was also rented from a building owned by a Jewish school whose Hebrew name translates to Looking Glass School, like Project Looking Glass. Isn't that crazy?
It's not there anymore.
Anyways, let's get to your dad's side of the family because it seems like your grandfather was a Swedish Freemason, and we found a little Bible. It's really hard to condense 11 plus hours of Candace Owens' deep dive into your family into a short skit. So this is really stressful. But what was inside of this Bible was a pentagram, and in the middle of the pentagram was a pentagon, where it was pretty clear that what they did was they worshipped and they did sacrifices in this pentagon. And a lot of people are saying that Charlie Kirk was a sacrifice, and I thought that was pretty crazy until I saw that he was in a pentagon when he was murdered. No one's going to believe this silly little narrative of yours. Right, because you keep them distracted with all the glitter and the fireworks and the shiny outfits and the music concerts with famous people. Anyways, we are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame.
Erica!
Erica! For the gospel, we honor his name. Stop.
I feel, and I cannot say for sure, but I feel that something was watching and it felt the clock ticking and its opportunity to finally bring about this war, which I think Netanyahu said he's been dreaming of for 40 years.
He did say that.
So something wanted this war to happen, and there was the perception that the opportunity, the window was closing, so it had to be brought about quickly. Given how public Charlie was on this topic, I can't help but wonder. Now, obviously, that will sound crazy to many people, that something would have even considered such a thing. But I will say that after Charlie was killed, Benjamin Netanyahu very quickly denied responsibility for it. I was shocked by this. It did not seem natural. Now, I'm not saying that that means that anything in that quadrant was responsible for the murder. All I know is that we didn't get a decent investigation. But I did feel, and maybe I hope you will tell me that I'm imagining this. I did feel that that denial by Netanyahu was effectively a Rorschach test and maybe designed to be one. That I was supposed to feel alarmed by this, and a normal person was supposed to think, that is batshit crazy. He said they didn't do it. Obviously, they didn't do it. So anyway, I'm not telling you that I see the evidence that somebody did it, but what I am telling you is we've just found ourselves in a war that Charlie would have been opposed to. We know that from his public and private statements, and that he would have been a formidable force in opposition. So What am I to think? Why? At least we should have an investigation that tells us for sure that we know who committed the crime and that there wasn't something larger about it. But look, now I've said unforgivable things. It's done.
I don't know why that's unforgivable. I mean, this is an American citizen, someone you knew, and you're not accusing anyone of anything. And I do think, leaving aside Charlie's murder and, the question of who did it, for a foreign leader to weigh in immediately and hog all the attention and make it all about himself and start issuing all these statements about how Charlie lived and died for Israel is totally unforgivable. I say this as his friend. I just think if someone did that to me after my death, I think my family would be outraged. It's not about you,
right,
BB? So that was disgusting behavior from someone with a track record of disgusting behavior. But at the very least, we could say that's just wrong. That's not how you behave in the wake of a young man's murder. And I'm never alleged. I don't even talk about this topic, and I'm not going to now, other than to say, I think everything you've said is entirely reasonable, and it's not an insult to the living to want to know what happened to the dead.
Yeah. So I have this this ex-CIA NSA analyst, and she did a well, first the thing about what he said there, Weinstein said about that is absolutely what everybody's thinking.
Yeah,
everybody's thinking that. So this analyst, because Charlie Kirk was doing a Doge audit and had hired somebody to do the Doge audit 4 days before he was killed. Millions of dollars missing. Millions of dollars missing.
That's just supposed to be a coincidence.
Yeah, and then after his death, Erica scratched the Doge audit.
Well, yeah, you don't want people to find your stuff.
Right. So,
she just gives me bad vibes.
This one's for Charlie Kirk. I followed the money on TPUSA. I found a lot. Let's go. I spent my career at the CIA and NSA and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. September 2nd, 2025, Charlie Kirk sends out an internal memo to TPUSA saying, hey, I'm announcing Justin Strife as our COO. And with that, he's going to lead a Doge-like effort into our financials and operations. Yay. Basically an internal audit, but without setting off red flags to the rest of the company that he wanted an audit. That's how I read it anyway. 8 days later, Charlie Kirk was murdered. Within the week, Erica Kirk was announced as the CEO, and that audit and Doge-like effort never happened. But lucky for us, TPUSA is a 501c3 and their financials are public. So I went in and dove in, announced myself as the independent Doge to do the follow the money, because in my mind, if the CEO is asking for an internal audit, he thinks something is up. And so I wanted to see what was going on. This is part 1. If you want to see the full write-up on my Substack channel, you can head over there and subscribe. Very grateful for all your support. I will start a podcast there next week as well. In part 1, I want to talk about what I think maybe gave him a sense that he needed to do an audit. And it's 3 vendors: Lion Rock Ventures, Cloverstone, and GSM Strategies. Whenever I'm asked to go into a corporation and assess the CEO or leadership or financials for fraud or potential red flags, because sometimes there aren't, but the first place that I go in their financials is their vendors and consultants. Who are you paying money to? Because to me, that's one of the easiest ways to hide and kind of show your cards. When I was looking at TPUSA's 990 forms, I realized that these 3 LLCs in particular shared not only a director, but an address. And then I started doing digging and I realized Stacey Sheridan is the common person in all of these. Well, Stacey Sheridan is also the senior advancement director for TPUSA, making upwards of at least $200,000 a year to do the exact same job that apparently they were paying these consulting firms to do that she owned, allegedly. Let's say you can look past that. Let's say it's like, so what? Well, next red flag is Lion Rock Ventures formed in 2019, and then it dissolved a year and a half later. And then Cloverstone formed, and then Cloverstone dissolved, and all while she was doing the same job for TPUSA. And on their 990 forms, they did check the box where they have their directors and people in her position sign conflict of interest forms, and this would be a conflict of interest, absolutely. And they brought in almost $3 million across those 4 years. But you have an employee who is also getting paid to do the same thing as her job through these vendors, allegedly. I found the $350,000 payment that people keep talking about and the shady things around it. I found it in their 990. I'll do that in part 2. They do.
So I'm going to dig into that, the Leah files. So the internet, man, you can find anything on the internet with just a
If
little
you know
couple
where to
key-
look,
if you-
absolutely.
couple keywords.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. That's crazy, dude. Yeah, that's not, that's, and I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just like, wow.
so they killed Charlie because of the Israel-Iran thing. That's why they killed Charlie. They also killed Charlie for this money laundering thing that was going on right under his nose. Remember, he's going here, he's going there, he's doing this, he's doing that. He's got all these, these people working for him, and money's starting to come up missing. He starts looking into it. He's pulling away from Israel because Israel is, threatening him basically. And he's like, I'm not going to be threatened. I'm not doing that.
I'm not
He
gonna
literally
report you.
tells his security the day before, I feel like they're going to kill me, right? And that his life was in danger, whatever. And then next thing you know, he's dead. And then now all the things that he was doing, gets, sidelined, like the Doge audit and different things like that. And we don't know who killed Charlie. We don't. We don't.
I don't believe the
there's
story
lots,
they're
There's
giving.
lots of theories about it. We're getting a little bit of it real quick here, but then there's going to be some more that we're going to get into later. But think about this. So he shot, and I have this other thing I'm going to dig into, and maybe Monday I'll do some of it. But there's a couple other new theories, or they're not new theories, but they're theories that he was shot twice, and that he was shot in a way because they said that it went down. So that means he was shot from up here. You know what I mean? And there's a theory around that. I haven't verified it yet, so I'm not going to speak on it. But what we're going to do is we're going to do this right here. Candace Owens did a piece on her show the other day. It is about, it's kind of long. We're just going to do it anyway, just for the hell of it. We're going to just do it. And we'll be right back.
All right, so first let us begin with the photos inside the van. We had only showed one. I'm going to show you this one here so that you guys can take this. Here is a closer bit. I do want to point out that it does very much look to me like there is some sort of shattered glass in the back. I know some people think that this could be a part of his mic that he had on him. And so I just want to say that I do see that all across the back seat, which is interesting. And I know some people are working, Baron Coleman being one of them, working on trying to examine why they told the story about how Brian Harpole was hanging out of the SUV, which wasn't the circumstance when they pulled out. So it's a bit confusing. Hopefully this helps. Here is another photo. And I should have said viewer discretion advised. They had told us this story about how they had so much gauze and so much and all this stuff. We were able to find basically what you see in the corner there that kind of looks like a UPS ticket, like a UPS, I guess you could say a UPS package ticket. What that is actually Instaclot, and which is essentially instant gauze, and there's just one on the floor. So unless he opened one and then put the rest of the packaging in his bag, which would be unusual, there's only one on the floor there that we could see. Hopefully, again, having looked through these photos and taking a look around, if you are one of the people And this is another side angle. If you are one of the people that has been working on this story, you can, hopefully I'll just see you in the online universe and I can share these photos with you because again, this now feels important and I have no understanding as to why Turning Point USA would not share every piece of footage they have. Obviously, the feds are not telling us the truth. And also, Kash Patel has been caught lying. I don't understand how Kash Patel is still in office, but I guess everyone is just, if you lie for the right people, which seems to always be Israel, then you will be protected. Even if you rape people, which we've just learned, you will be protected somehow, redacted at the very least. Now we're going to get into this video. This is a long video. I told you guys how this happened, how I came about this. In the beginning, I didn't suspect anything with Turning Point, obviously. That all changed after I had a phone call with Terrell. I recognized he was acting very strange on the phone, lying, saying he didn't know how to send a file. I was genuinely reaching out to him because I thought I could help clear his name because people thought he was suspicious for taking down the camera. And I thought he was going to give me a perfectly reasonable reason as to why he did that. Like, oh, I was just instructed by the Fed or something to do that. And I was nervous. No, just excuse after excuse. And I didn't understand why there would be any reason he was lying, saying he didn't know how to send a file, but you run an audio-visual company, Terrell Farnsworth. Now I've learned about his dad and his uncles and his cousins and their relationship with Lori Franzfey dating back to 2013. And it's all not looking good. None of this is looking good. Anyway, let's get to some of this video now. We're going to scrub through this, but we'll show you. Let's get to the first few minutes of this, and then I'm going to show you some other parts. Remember, I'm on screen record here, so get to this. And by the way, I think at some point they said they didn't have the footage. They have the footage. Okay, this is Terrell was at his office when he showed me this, and here we go. You can just play this and. If you guys are just on audio, you'll obviously need to come cut this on video because I can't really describe, obviously, the question is being asked. This moment right here, we had assumed initially that was his recorder or something. I can confirm, you'll see later, that it's whipping fast and it looks white when it whips fast, but that is, in fact, his necklace. That is his necklace. And I find that for some reason to be very strange that the necklace goes up first. You can see this obviously, and by the way, there's no gore in this, so you don't really need viewer discretion because, like I said, which kind of broke the internet, the bullet didn't go through, and not only did not go through, didn't even cause any sort of a mess. His perfectly white T-shirt was white until the moment that he hit the ground. Skylar, we can get to that portion, I guess, where they can more clearly see the. Well, first we can show them the magnet that's still on him. I guess we'll get to that. Yeah, there you go. We can pause there. They can see that is his necklace, and it's I don't know how to describe that. I don't know if you would say it's still on him. There was a lot of story. Everybody had a personal story about Charlie's necklace, which struck me as very odd. Okay, it struck me as odd because Erica, Frank tells the story about how he came out to get his backpack from the car as the feds were searching it at the hospital. And he saw Charlie's necklace on his backpack, which was in the car. And the feds said, we were looking for that necklace. Really? Why were the feds looking for the necklace? How did they know he had a necklace? That's very strange. Erica, of course, has told several stories about the necklace and how precious the necklace was to him and how grateful she was that she got the necklace back. I think maybe even Brian Harpole had a story about that. I got to go back and look through it. But everyone's got a story about the necklace. It seems like a strange focus of this day. And so I want to just point that out, that it is the necklace that is hanging. You can see that. And maybe you can see it clearer when it's on my phone. So like I said, I'm happy to send around, but you can at some points even see and observe the chain. Again, this is after Charlie is hit. So you are seeing 0 blood heading backward. That feels wrong to me. That instantly felt wrong to me for what they are telling us took place here, which is a 30-06. It's not even enough to pretend that this was like an event where it already is, I would say, insane to try to say this was some miracle event and, Charlie's neck stopped this. It gets even crazier when you say, but it didn't even cause any blood. Everything you saw was blood that came because an artery got hit and that went forward. So I just want to say that. never buy the narrative that a 30-06 is what killed Charlie Kirk. I'm just not accepting that narrative whatsoever. We can continue, and we can sort of point out some more portions here. I just keep going through here. Okay, you can see Charlie was not down. He was always also upward, which I know a lot of people know stuff about. We can kind of look close at that. Is that a recorder? The magnet clasp right there. Some people were wondering. Some people thought that the magnet clasp. I know there was a lot of stuff about the magnet clasp. That's it. It's still on him. I know those things are very powerful, and I think John Bray explained to me that the magnet clasp would have stayed on, but what was behind it would have fallen off because he has a theory, and I think I would say it's a well-adopted theory that the Rode microphone is what was shattered in the back seat of the car, and so. I wanted to show that as well so you guys could see that. We can keep scrubbing through here. Only, as you can see on his hand, because blood went forward, is only place that you see any blood dropped here. Again, sure. You can see Dan actually pushes him, by the way. Dan takes him to the ground, which he should do, but I think it's important to note that. You can see what's on the table there, which I think is good too, from what's behind the table, in case there's any clues here. Some people thought that that guy had grabbed something on the table, and I had confirmed to you that he did not, because I saw that. And when he slides across, you want to go back to that slide so they can see that, Sky? Yeah, there's nothing on the table that he grabs. There's a book. It looks like maybe Charlie had a notebook. It looks like. I don't know if there's a way to like slow that down a bit. Yep, there you go. You can see when his hands first come on the table, he does not grab anything. So that is a conspiracy theory that we can shut down. Okay. And keep going. Points here. People might want to know. Oh, you can see kind of what's around him more broadly. Speakers. Oh, yeah, I think. Okay, and then beyond that, we just have some crowd shots, and you can show some of that as well. Like to scrub there. We're just scrubbing through the parts that are just obviously pause, be talking. All right, and so that's it. Yeah, I feel that it is our duty to share that with the public.
Nothing makes sense. We're in a simulation. Total simulation. Nothing makes sense. I have a whole bunch of Charlie Kirk stuff that I've played over the time, and yeah, so I have a ton of that. Probably one of these days we're gonna have to just get in here and just do, we got Epstein file stuff that we need to go through, and we need to dissect that, and then we have Charlie Kirk stuff that I'm not letting those two things go. I'm not gonna let them go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've been kind of hung up a little bit on the Iran war, which is important because of what we're up against, and all the controversy of things that are not true is the main thing. I do want to cover this smoking gun before we go. It's late, and I didn't mean to be this late, but I want to cover these two clips. One, remember when 2020 when the ballots got were being brought in by truck? Well, that tractor trailer dude had a truckload of ballots, and the trailer got stolen. You remember that? Mm-hmm. I got that guy. He's it's long. I'm not gonna play it all. And then I have the smoke. Maybe you know what? We've seen that before. We'll skip that tonight because of time restraints. But this is Peter Tickton. You know who that is?
No.
Smoking gun proof of election fraud via voting machines.
They keep saying Trump should declare an emergency, cancel the election, because I know he's been looking at this, which is to standardize and protect the election. He has executive power. They've been pre-demonizing this because they're so scared of it. Start over and explain this.
Okay. All right. Let's just say China started to come over to the United States to take over power in the United States, and they're shooting guns. You know, they're shooting bullets at us. Obviously, that would be an emergency. And obviously, the president doesn't need anybody's permission to start doing whatever is necessary to do to make sure that we don't become defeated. Right now, China's doing the same thing, except they're not using bullets. They're doing it surreptitiously through voting machines. They're taking over our country. So this is the same kind of an emergency. You don't need bullets necessarily. Bullets aren't a necessary factor to have an emergency. There's all kinds of emergencies. There's
Well,
no
it's even
bullets when you
worse
have a
because
hurricane.
it's stealth and it's now confirmed.
It's confirmed. We know for a fact. This is no longer a theory. I mean, it's always been an understanding that there was a high probability that this would happen. But now that we have Martinez's, I'm sorry, his first name is Weston. Weston Martinez's documents that he got from the county that basically gave him the list. And by the way, he got the same list the next day, but it was all doctored. The next day, it was a different number. The voters were different. But the first day, they hadn't fixed it yet. They gave him the list with the modified duplicates on it.
Incredible.
Those are the people that voted. So, it's in play.
And that's in San Antonio, Texas. I saw that. This is smoking gun. Just like you said 4 years ago, 5 years ago, with the evidence you already had, they create duplicates of real people, then they can vote as much as they want with that person. We found that in Michigan as well, all over. And now this candidate gets it. They're lazy. Give him the actual list that they ran in the computer according to law, and it's the proof of this.
We've had 3 states. We've had Texas, Arkansas, and North Carolina, where we had primaries last week. And there's a fellow, what's his name? Martinez. I'll think of his first name. I keep forgetting his first name. But anyway, he was running in Bexar County. It's called Bexar County, but it's spelled Bexar. Don't ask me why they don't pronounce the X, but anyway, that's what it is. In Bexar County, he was running for election, and he asked for a list of the people that had voted, which you're entitled to. There's nothing wrong with getting it. They gave it to him. And the list had all the duplicates on it. Okay. We have a smoking gun.
Wow.
That the machines are in play. And this is why this is so important. In fact, in Bexar County now, the candidate that won the primary for the Republicans is a left-winger who's totally woke and in favor of DEI. I mean, that's what we got there. So they put their candidate into our party to be our candidate.
Total Trojan
they don't
horse
even have to
operation.
worry.
Again, you have the list showing the multiple names being duplicated, stealing the election. Incredible.
So it's simulation. I mean, everything that's going on is just crazy now. They're talking, that dude is assigned by Trump. He's known Trump for 50, 60 years, and he's working on the election stuff. And there's a couple other people working on the election stuff. I can't think of his name right now, but they're working on the whole thing, and then they got the Maduro thing, right?
Yeah.
With the election stuff that's going on. So that's another piece of it that's supposed to happen, and that's got to happen soon, very soon. So apparently, Apparently,
we're looking at less than a little more over 6 months, and those elections are happening. It's pretty damn scary, dude. With what's going on in Iran and that shit happening, it don't look good.
It don't look good. So let's hope that, I mean, what's the word? I mean, with what we got going on, I guess it's still better than having Kamala or Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
So there is that. There is a lot of things that have been positive that Trump's done, but it hasn't been much lately because he's been stepping on his dick so much. So
No, and that's the thing, man. That's the beauty of this country. If you fuck up, real people with fucking integrity are going to call you when you fuck up.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not going to bend my shit because you are,
Yeah, I'm not going to sell you out.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, it's terrible, dude. That's what that person said. It's betrayal. That's what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
And that's a fucked up feeling, man.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you had this thing almost turned around.
Zero arrests.
Oh, I know.
Zero arrests.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When your homeboy's the neighbor to the fucking king pedo, it doesn't, and that's a whole nother thing, bro. That gets me fucking. You're an apologist. You're fucking. What are you hiding?
Oh, you talking about Lutnick?
Lutnick. That fucking oddball.
He hasn't been around
good
lately, but I'm sure he's around.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got through some of it. We didn't get through all of it. We got through quite a bit of it. We was able to handle most of it. At least all the topics got covered. Except for there's a couple things I'll do Monday. One of them is the 9 members of Antifa were convicted.
Good.
There's that, and then there's some a couple other things that we'll talk about next week. There'll be a whole host of more shit that comes up, I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
Anybody that says it's a slow media day, they're full of shit.
Yeah, they're not paying attention.
Apparently they're not paying attention. Yeah. So anyway. All right. Well, God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Go to the description. I just looked at the QR code's not working. I don't know why. I have a meeting with IT tomorrow, so I'll fix that. But you can go to the description and on Rumble and Getter and YouTube and go to My Patriot Supply, buy some restorable stuff that you need. Thank you guys for being here. John, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll see you Monday at 8 p.m.
Have a good
Pacific
night.
time.
God bless.
Thank you. Good night.